Next is going to be how many war movies have you ever watched, Kiara?
Um, maybe one or two. I'm not. That's not my jam for multiple of reasons, but it's great revenue.
Okay,
I
how about
will
this?
say there is one war movie, but it's not. It focuses on the back behind of war, not like war itself, if that makes any sense. But it's called War Dogs. I think it has Jonah Hill in it. It's a really
I've
good
heard of
movie.
that.
It's very
Yeah,
informative, and
yeah. Miles
that
Teller was in that.
yeah, it's based off of a real thing. But
Mhm.
war movies are not my thing.
Okay.
But,
Well, did you see Knives Out?
I did see Knives Out.
Okay, so tell you what, let's go ahead and double down on this real quickly, just so that you can do Knives Out. I'll do All Quiet on the Western Front, this Netflix war movie that's here, and then I'll give you the Knives Out sequel that we're doing last. How's that?
That's fine.
Cool. All right. So next up is another Netflix project, All Quiet on the Western Front. Let's take a look.
Deutsche Sozialdemokraten, unser geliebtes Volk wehrlos machen.
Wir bleiben zusammen, ja, Paul? Wir bleiben zusammen.
Ich habe Angst vor dem, was kommt.
Wow. Okay, and I guess this is on. This is getting some theatrical distribution too. It looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna try to condense this as best as I can. I don't watch a lot of war movies either, but I understand the importance of war movies as dramatizations of history. There's an old saying: if you don't learn the lessons from history, you're doomed to repeat it, or something along those lines, which puts even greater impetus on those who are tasked with telling history to tell it right, tell it accurately, and in a way that is productive to yielding a more positive future in retrospect. Or in light of it, excuse me, in light of what came before, the tragic events that came before. I'm trying to remember. I think the King's Man, the Kingsman prequel, I think was the last movie of consequence that I saw that dealt with World War One specifically. Before that would have been Wonder Woman. I saw bits and pieces of 1917, mainly that amazing running scene, that single tracking shot that Sam Mendes did such an amazing job directing. But anyway, and shout out to the cinematographer as well. But this movie, it's hard for me to sort of discern. It's hard for me to really discern what really this is for, but for a different reason. Like I understand, this seems to be a kind of story that focuses on World War One, but from more of the perspective of the individual soldiers that had to go fight that instead of having inordinate amounts of plot dealing with the political machinations of what was going on behind the scenes of the major battles during the war. Um, I'm not really sure how they're going to make that compelling and interesting or like resonating to a modern audience necessarily. I'm intrigued enough to read the reviews for this before this hits my Netflix queue, because I don't really. My expectations for this is kind of low right now, especially given that, right now, just where we are socially, culturally, hey, easy on the war adjacent content, please. But, um, uh, I mean, I'll give it a side thumb for now. I'll learn more about it, but I don't have high expectations for this movie. Um, I understand that this kind of movie has a market and has its place, but here again, it just circles back to my previous statement about how you really got to be careful how you tell history, especially world history that's as significant as this. And I will say, I was fascinated by the quote that they used in the beginning. How did it go? Those who face, I forgot verbatim how it was, but it was like, those who face death do not see it as an adventure, basically. And that was a very profound quote. That's really, frankly, sort of a wise perspective to have when thinking about war and when thinking about people who are tasked with fighting a war in defense of in defense of people, in defense of your people, your country, or your culture, as it were. There's more to unpack there, but we just don't have time for that tonight. I'll just stick to my side thumb, All Quiet on the Western Front, which is coming to Netflix on October 30th, and stream and playing in select theaters as well. Hopefully right around that time. Let me go ahead and take another look at that. I think it was. Hang on, where was that release date in there? Hang on a second. Here it is. In select theaters. They didn't have a release date for that, but I guess it's going to be around the same date, October 28th. But anyway, so that was All Quiet on the Western Front. Once again, thanks so much for watching Trailer Reactions right here on Weekend Showcase, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Weekend Showcase, or the Linktree link scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Also, really appreciate you smashing that like button and YouTube subscribe, notification bell, and follow us however you can to support the channel. Let's go ahead and move on.